And live from the Scheinfeld Center Innovator Studio at Santa Barbara City College, it's the Enlightened Entrepreneur Podcast, where we inform and inspire Gen Z to become even more entrepreneurial and innovative in our global economy. I'm your host, Julie Sampson, Director of the Scheinfeld Center. Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy you're with us. We are a community here helping people like you create livelihoods that matter and build your own business and be your own boss. And we welcome you to join us. Doing all of that requires a network, so why not join ours? We meet here every Friday at 2 p.m. and we've got a live chat going so you can interact there. We've got Carol moderating there today, a member of the Scheinfeld team. And we also have Renee backing us up as well. With all of that, let's go ahead and just jump right in. Gen Z has earned the reputation of being the most entrepreneurial, digital, diverse, and inclusive generation to date. Should we add that they're also the most global? Gen Z is born into an age when technology is shrinking the world. They're more likely to travel, to migrate across borders, and to forge friendships in other countries than any other generation. They could become the first truly global generation for whom divisions across countries, cultures, and faiths are not important. So it makes sense to link Gen Z and global entrepreneurship. But where do we start? Well, why not start with Brazil? It's the 9th largest country and the 8th largest economy in the world. And despite the recent economic setbacks, there's no overlooking that its startup ecosystem, it's right in first place. Brazil is among the top 5 economies with the highest startup rate in the world, and the country has produced over 10,000 startups in the past decade. With that, we have to acknowledge that Brazilians have weathered economic storms. So that gives us the opportunity, since in the US, we are facing our own economic storms as a result of the pandemic. So what can we learn from Brazil's startups and from Brazilian entrepreneurs? Let's break it down with our guest today, who's a Brazilian Gen Z entrepreneur who's figuring it all out. Our guest is Samy Waintraub, who is an SBCC and UCSB alumnus and co-founder of the Slotyx clothing brand, whose mission is to raise awareness of environmental issues by making unique, high-quality apparel, starting with fun socks. Launched in 2019 and based in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Slotyx is surviving the pandemic, evidenced by a recent order for 25,000 pairs of socks, and they employed 5 students for summer interns. What's their secret? Let's find out. So Samy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Julie. It's a pleasure being here also. Coming from SBCC, having you as a professor was great, and we learned a lot during the class. And I guess the secret is not a real secret. It's just a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication that we've been putting. We're being struck by this crazy pandemic that we've all been facing, and I guess it's a combination of hard work, a lot of dedication of myself, of my partners as well. It's very interesting to see that even during a pandemic, there's always times of growth. During times of recession, of pandemics, or whatever you can call crisis, economic crisis, there is always the opportunity to see the bright side. And that's what we've been trying to do, look at the bright side and seeing as an opportunity to grow.
I can't wait to hear more about that. But let's kind of back up a second, because I think, the first time I met you, as you were saying, it was in, I think, 2017 in Enterprise Launch, or 2018. And you actually were with a different team then, and you launched a startup, based on apparel. And then you actually came back in 2020, this year, and won the Scheinfeld New Venture Challenge. You placed there. Congratulations. It was our COVID-19 edition, which is a little bit different than normal. With all of that, maybe you can give some context about Slotyx. So can you tell us more about the company and, kind of what its purpose is?
Yes. So we created Slotyx last year in 2019. Slotyx is a part of the bigger group, which is called Movie, which is our import company. And as you already mentioned, Slotyx's main mission and goal is to raise awareness of the environmental and mainly the a preservation of animals, because our logo, which is the sloth, is a very unique animal, and it's native of Brazil as well. So the sloth, the whole idea is to make the awareness of the animal very clear. And with that being said, we created Slotyx in 2019, and since then we faced a lot of up and downs, but we have been here so far, and it's great to see the chances are still here.
Tell us more about your business model. So how does this work? Your primary product is socks, right?
Yes, our primary product is fun socks, happy socks, whatever you may call it, and we import from China. Although there's this stereotype that China doesn't have a good product, we try and kill this stereotype, because there is very good product, very high quality if you look for it, which we did a great job in that. And on top of that, we're launching our new website, which will have also apparel. I can't disclose a lot of information about that because it's still a new launch. But yeah, our main product is fun socks. We sell on retail, which is our own website and other websites. And we're also looking to sell on wholesale as well in the close future.
Is Slotyx fulfilling the orders, or how is that working on the back end?
Yes, my team in Brazil, they fulfill the orders. My main task as staying abroad is to help with the marketing and the website construction and everything that is related to it. But my team fulfills the logistics of the products.
I heard that something about Brazil is that so many people are using mobile phones. It's like 102%, meaning people have more than one mobile phone. That creates an amazing industry, an amazing way to leverage getting the word out and also doing e-commerce that way. Do you find that the mobile platform is important to your users?
Yes, especially because of our target audience of mainly Generation Z, Y, and millennials. So we definitely targeted very much on that end. We have a very good presence in social media. We try having a great website that is mobile friendly as well, on top of being desktop friendly. So we definitely have our eyes open for it.
Awesome. Now, how did you come up with the idea of Slotyx? Because you have this concept represented by the sloth and then socks. So how did this all come together?
I'll actually give the credit to my partner, Fernando, because he was the one who came up with the idea. He's a big fan of happy socks, of funny socks. And what he realized that in Brazil, the fun socks are not very much present, besides having the foreign companies. So you have Happy Socks, you have Stance, which are the major players in the market, and they have a huge presence in Brazil. But what he realized, there's not a strong Brazilian fun socks brand. So he wanted to come up with something that could fulfill that need in the Brazilian market. And on top, by creating that, he also mixed his passion of nature and animal conservation, and he came up with the Slotyx. So I'll give the credit to my partner on that one.
Okay, good. So are you wearing Happy Socks right now?
I'm not wearing, but I have actually one right here. I was wearing them yesterday, so they might be a little dirty, but I have them here.
Yeah, maybe you could show.
I was wearing them yesterday. So those are the first model we produced, and I actually just got them a couple of weeks ago from a friend that was coming to the US. So it was my first time wearing them because with all the pandemic, I didn't have the chance, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the whole concept is bright colors, patterns, for male and female and kids, or?
Yes, we pretty much invest in a very unisex, if that's the correct term. We want to have a sock identity that fits both female and male, and all having very vibrant colors, kind of breaking the pattern. We don't want we were kind of tired of seeing like all this like mainstream socks, black and white, and we see there's a great need, and people are asking for it. They can go to work, they can go to pretty much anywhere. You can use it for sports, you can use it for any activity you may like. And you also asked about the infants and for kids. This is the next step. We're working on it, and hopefully by the end of the year we'll have a great variety of happy socks for kids as well.
So it's easy to understand, I guess, when I think about it now, why a concept like that would do really well, like during pandemic times, because who doesn't want happy socks during these times, right?
Yeah, just trying to bring some color and some life, because people get stuck at their homes, and they might as well have a comfortable outlook and kind of breaking the pattern that they're used to it, you know.
Yeah, so is the color, the vibrancy, the main distinguishing characteristics, or what are they made out of? Is there anything
Yeah,
in that realm?
our composition is very much based in cotton, so we're around 75 to 80% of cotton on our composition, which is a high level. It's pretty much the highest companies, like the ones that I already mentioned, they are producing on that level. And besides that, something about the nylon that has, and some other specifications, which I'm not the most qualified person to explain about it. My partner Fernando is the one who kind of nails on it. And but as far as the designs, they are all made by us. We had a great design team that produced all the designs. So on top of having vibrant colors, we also want to bring relevant concepts to it, like highlighting the Brazilian culture, highlighting the Brazilian animals, bringing a very Brazilian identity to it.
Yeah, super fun. Yeah, so you have a really nice niche that way. Do you do any kind of like a sock subscription plan or anything like that?
It's funny because you mentioned on a project that we're actually working on it, which is a subscription model in which gonna have a different tiers and different plans for different prices, of course. And we're actually gonna be mixing with the apparel we're gonna be selling. So it's gonna be a very, very fun thing that we're gonna be hopefully launching in the next couple of months. And I'm actually basing on the idea of a company called Stitch and Fix, which is an American company.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I'm trying to base the idea off of them, because they nail it.
I think you've hit on something that can be pretty durable in terms of being successful no matter what the economy is doing, because in good times, who doesn't want happy socks? And in hard times, it's not, I don't imagine it's that big of a spend, you know, where it's out of a lot of people's budgets. Like, what's your typical retail price?
I'll give you my perspective, then I go to the retail price. My perspective on it's that socks are commodities. They are pretty much like almost like food. You always need them. And hitting on that point is that the fact that we wanna have a price that is very reasonable for the Brazilian people, because when we say in dollars, it's completely different than our currency, which is very depreciated right now. So our MRSP is around $4 to $5 a pair, depending on the currency fluctuation and stuff like that. But it's very much on their budget for the quality they're getting.
Do you ship globally, or are you just focused in Brazil right now?
We're focusing on Brazilian market, first of all, because we want to have the operations very neat and straightforward there. We want to be a recognized Brazilian company before expanding globally, or maybe to the US, because I'm already here. But we want to focus first on the Brazilian market for the first couple of years, then maybe see what are the opportunities around.
Well, fantastic. That gives our audience a nice background about Slotyx. Let's kind of turn our focus here to the ecosystems, the startup ecosystem. So in other words, the support that startups have in Brazil and in the US. It's awesome because you worked with the startup previously here in the US and you're in Brazil with Slotyx. You have some unique perspective. You have actually a very high number of entrepreneurs in your country. A lot of them kind of come to entrepreneurship kind of out of necessity, is what I read. Is that true?
Yes, I think you touched on a very important point, Julie, because it's based on need. People are entrepreneurs by their blood because it's what they need. It's the need of survival. It's their survival mode on, and they need to be entrepreneurs on everything they do. It's part of the Brazilian culture. You have your own bar, you have your own mini shop, anything that you need to have to bring food to your table. That's my perspective on it.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of making a parallel between having a company in Brazil and having a company in the US, it's much harder having a company in Brazil. If you want me to expand on it, I can, but
Yes, yeah, that would be great. I've heard that there's policies that can make it very difficult, that there's taxation that can make it really hard for people. Yeah, what kinds of things do you find there that make it challenging for startups?
first, on the like macro environment, it's a very unstable country. You have a lot of fluctuations. You have a lot of political disagreements that they do affect in the currency, which is very hard to produce, especially for importing from China. So you expect your dollar to be 4, and then the next month it's already 5, and then how do you work with it? You can't pass along the difference in the customer because he won't pay for it. So that's one of the factors that really come into play. The second one that it's very, very heavy is the taxation. The taxation in Brazil is incredibly high from what you get in exchange. Being a Brazilian citizen, I can tell you don't get anything in exchange of the taxes you pay for. So it's very hard to be an entrepreneur there. In a nutshell, it's very, very hard.
I was reading that the government recently, like even with COVID, as recently as the past few months, is taking strides to launch programs that are helping startups, and that they're actually looking at some potential tax reform for business, for startups specifically. Has that, like in the mainstream, is that coming through yet, or what do you know about that?
I'm not sure about it. What I know is that everything takes a long time in Brazil, to be quite honest. So if they're doing it, hopefully it's gonna go fast, but most likely not. To be realistic here, and they always have these discussions of the taxation, of improving the taxation, but it's a matter that have been in politics for the past 20 years and nothing has happened. So we might as well do our own job and leave the government aside.
So this very dynamic that you're talking about, where Brazilians, your economy, it has seen its ups and downs like we talked about, but I think part of what comes out of that is it kind of builds in a resilience among the Brazilian people and entrepreneurs, right? To be able to weather those storms and all the changes.
Yeah, I think Brazilians are very, very resilient in not just on the way they work, but on the way they live, because it's a very hard country. It's not like having both of the perspectives gave me a unique look at how I see things, and kind of seeing the Brazilian perspective it is very hard. It's a hard lifestyle, and kind of building this resilience. It affects the businesses in a positive way. It affects the way they operate, the way they're like brave, and the way they can stand up against all this trouble. And they have been doing a pretty good job. But the pandemic hit the Brazilian economy very hard, especially the small businesses, which is very hard to see.
Yes. Yeah, I was reading that it's a lot like the US, where there's a large service-based industry in Brazil, and it's personal services a lot. It sounds like the country is kind of bridging into business to consumers type businesses, but that a large majority are those personal services, and that those were hit really hard, just like in the US and really globally, I think.
Yeah, you definitely have this very big growth of the B2C businesses because there's a big need for it. But if there's no demand, they just can't survive. And Brazilians, the Brazilian average operates paycheck per paycheck, so they don't have that other amount of money separated for emergency. So they just gotta cancel all the other purchases that are not survival needed.
What do you think that the founders should know about and be thankful about in our country that is supporting them, that they may not even know that they should be grateful for because it's been here and it's a part of the fabric?
I completely understand why you would take things for granted here, especially in California, especially in such a nice place. But the advice I would give is don't take anything for granted, especially the easiness of doing anything in this country. From any services you need, anything you need, things are very easy here. They're in comparison to the rest. It might be hard in your perspective, but in comparison to the rest of the planet, it is very easy. Things work very well here. And when you want to open a business, it's so fast here. Things move along so fast. Even if it's the government, which I'm most of the time skeptical about it, things move along here. So the biggest advice I would give is don't take things for granted. And this is a great country in most of the business related things, my perspective.
Yeah, excellent. What is next for Slotyx? So what's coming up down the road here? You kind of talked about some new initiatives you have going on, but maybe can you tell us a little bit more?
Sure. So as you already mentioned in the presentation you gave, we just closed a very big order from China. So hopefully we're going to start working on it, making the sales that we need. And we want to start selling in bigger marketplaces in Brazil, online marketplaces. We have B2W, which is one of the biggest one in Brazil. Mercado Livre, which is another big one. It's pretty much like Brazil, the Latin American Amazon. So we want to be selling on these big online retailers that will give us a very good margin and also spread our brand around. And I guess lastly is just don't lose the focus of whatever is going on, and keep a very positive mindset and keep grinding. It's all about the daily grind. It's all about the everyday, the calls that we make. It's about being up late and calling my partners in Brazil when here is 3 a.m. and them staying up late as well. So it's all about the small things that in the end they add up for the mission of doing whatever we came for.
Yeah.
And I think for myself, I'm in the US. I finally graduated from university, which was a great thing. I'm very proud of having finished my degree here. And let's see how things unfold. Let's see. I'm very, very hopeful about the next year, and hopefully things are going to be better for everyone.
Congratulations on receiving your degree. That's super exciting, a huge milestone. So you said in an earlier conversation, it's a bit challenging for you in terms of if you want to be in the US to be focusing on Slotyx. And so then therefore you're kind of considering whether you might open up new things for yourself, right?
Yeah, so I keep myself pretty much half of the time occupied with Slotyx. So half of my day with Slotyx, and before doing my summer internships and whatnot with other companies, I also keep my time dedicated to them. But I do have the goal of staying a couple more years around here. So we have to see how things are going to work on. But yeah, if there's the need of opening something here, hopefully Slotyx will have their operations around here as well, not in a close future, but in in a foreseeable future. And yeah, I guess that's what I expect for the future.
Yeah, that's super exciting. And you're kind of exemplifying the life of an entrepreneur that we see a lot these days from Gen Z and other generations too, where it can be this thing of you're starting a company and you have that going, and you may be working within another company to gain skills, to grow, that you can then bring together down the road in ways that maybe you can't even imagine now. So this kind of agility to go between those roles, to be working within a company as an employee, or running your own business, it seems like a very key skill set within our times and, the new era that we're in.
I think it's a great point that I actually mentioned, because in the same time, look how crazy, in the same time I was running my own, I was the employer of a summer internship program with Brazilian students in the US and other countries, from top universities here, from Brown University and Northeastern University. I was running as the coordinator for Slotyx. In the same time, I was an employee for an American company doing a summer internship here. So you can see the parallel here is just a lot of information, but when you put the effort and you know what is the purpose of it, then it all makes sense in the end.
Yes. Wow. Well, it's super exciting to hear everything that you're doing, and it's just putting you on this trajectory of tremendous growth as an entrepreneur, and I can't wait to see what's next. But hey, right now we have a question from our audience. We're at the end, if you can believe it. 30 minutes can go so quickly. The question is from Cameron, and he asks, do you plan on expanding your product range, or just producing socks solely?
As I already kind of mentioned before, but I think it's a great question. We're producing fun socks as of now, but our website right now is up to maintenance because we are relaunching the new product. So we are going to be selling apparel. You can think of a variety of products. We're going to be selling shorts and t-shirts, shirts, and dressing shirts, and a bunch of stuff. But it's going to be up in the air for whoever want to check it later. But as of now, we're focusing on fun socks.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Samy, if our audience wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can, I think you put on the description, they can either reach me out on LinkedIn, they can reach me out on Instagram. Any questions, any concerns, anything, any opportunities they see viable, please don't hesitate to reach me out. They all have my information. It's going to be a pleasure discussing.
Excellent. Thank you, Samy. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this episode of the Enlightened Entrepreneur Podcast. And if you like what we're doing, we encourage you to join us. Like, subscribe, ring the bell so that you get a notification of our videos, and also connect with us through Instagram and YouTube. And also, if there's any content that you're really interested in seeing, connecting Gen Z with entrepreneurship, any topic that you would really like us to cover, why don't you let us know? Let us know in the chat, let us know in the comments, and we'll be happy to put that together for you. With that, I'd like to say goodbye to everybody. I hope you have a good week, and we'll see you coming up next week again. Thanks, everyone.